Hello, friends, and welcome to the Homewrecker podcast, where we wreck and shatter conventional wisdom and ways of thinking by bringing alternative viewpoints to light. I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing wife, Monique. Monique, how are you?
Hi, I am well. How are you?
Fantastic.
Excellent.
As always.
Yes.
So what's new? What's going on? What's happening? Let's get into it.
I just recorded an episode with my dear crow sister, Jennifer Holtz, for her podcast, Curious Cat, who we often play ads for on here. And it was really fun. And it was a really good conversation, like crazy things that came to me in a meditation before that I talked about that actually came to her. It was really fun. So when that episode comes out, it might be out by the time this airs, but if not, wait for it. Curious Cat Podcast and with Jennifer Holtz. And it's a good conversation. We talk about gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And what about you? Anything going on with you?
Yes. So it's actually kind of both of us. We recorded a watch along for the movie Step Brothers that we're making available to everybody for free on the Buy Me a Coffee page that we have.
Yes.
So look at that.
Please visit it.
Yeah, go check that out. So that was a lot of fun. And anybody that doesn't know what a watch along is, you've never heard one or listened to one before, especially one of ours. Back in the day when people used to buy DVDs, I don't know if they still do that anymore, but they would have audio commentaries that would play over the audio of the movie as you're watching it. If say you've seen a movie a bunch of times, you're a big fan, you want to hear what the director was thinking about whatever and the things the actors had to do to get into character and all that kind of stuff. They explain all that stuff while you're watching the movie. So when we do a watch along, you basically just put the movie on, preferably something that you've seen many times before, I should say. And it's like we're sitting in the room with you watching it because we're just laughing at parts that happen. We'll relay certain stories that have taken place in our lives, maybe having something to do with a situation relating to the movie.
Yeah.
Funny comments.
Jokes.
And sometimes we'll trail off into weird conversations that have nothing to do with what you're watching. That can happen too. So
just
anyway,
like in regular life. You know.
So put it on if you want and have some fun with that. That was something fun that I did recently with you, of course.
So go to Buy Me a Coffee /Homewrecker podcast. You can find bonus content there. And if you really enjoy listening to us, you can always make a donation, show your support for us in the show. We'd appreciate it. And really quick, before we get into our topic today, I just want to plug, if you are interested in a tarot or oracle reading, if you're interested in any of the orgonite I make, I sell crystals, I make incense and candles. You can go to tarotbymonique.com, or if you're interested in hypnotherapy, go to innerstandingshypnosis.com. You can schedule a free 20-minute consult with me for hypnotherapy. And if you're interested in not quite scheduling a one-on-one, but want to do something from home that you can do over and over again, check out my digital downloads. They're very reasonably priced, and you get to do it over and over as much as you want to or need to. And there's some really cool stuff. I mentioned I was on Jen Holtz's show, Curious Cat. We talked about dragons, and I have a Dragon Connection digital download, which is really fun to do. So take a look if you're interested. All right. Are you ready to get into our topic today?
I'm ready.
We're talking about goals.
What are goals?
Things you want to do.
Okay.
Merriam-Webster.
So
not.
So why are we talking about goals? Why is that an important thing?
Because a few days ago, we were talking with our boys, and we were talking about not giving up on your goals. If there's something you need to do or you want to do, it's so easy to give up. And so many people do, but it's so important to stick with it. And one of the things I brought up is a phrase we hear all the time. It's good enough. And to us, when you say good enough, that to us is like throwing in the towel. You don't want to put in any more effort. It's not good. It's not what it should be, but that's a way of giving up. And that sparked a synchronicity for you, Alex.
Yeah, the good enough thing, like, hear that all throughout my life, and yeah. So anyway, we're explaining this to our children, and it did spark a synchronicity. I was telling, basically, we talked about that, and then also just the importance of never giving up on your dreams if you have dreams, and then your goals if you set goals for yourself, because most people tend to quit right before the end and right before they're about to actually realize whatever it is that they were trying to achieve. And so I brought up the book 3 Feet from Gold, which it's like one of those Think and Grow Rich type of self-help, self-development type books. And there in it talks about a bunch of different people that give their stories of how they achieve success and the hardship and everything on the way there. So it tells you about how important it is not to give up. And in the book, I just opened it up, and I hadn't looked at it in a couple of years, and I just happened to open it up where the bookmarks were in the book. And I opened it up, and right there staring at me in boldface, after you had just had that conversation with our son, is the words, "Good enough never is." And I'm just like, what are the odds of that? Like, that's where my bookmark was, and I open it up, and that's right there. So just kind of an interesting synchronicity there. And then from there, we just got to talking a lot about that kind of stuff and why it's important not to ever give up on your goals.
And I had told our boys how, for me personally, there are so many times I'm doing something, and it's weird. It's like that voice inside that just says, good enough. And a great example is shoveling. I'll be shoveling. One of my favorite things ever to do in the winter. And I'll get literally 5 feet away, and I'm almost done. And part of me thinks, you did most of it. That's not a big deal. You don't really have to finish that. You've done so much. You're tired. I literally have these conversations in my mind. And it's like there's a part of me talking me out of finishing the job. And of course, I have to be like, seriously? It's like the angel and the devil on each shoulder. Like, one's telling you don't need to do it, and the other one's like, yes, you do. And I was saying how easy it is to give up on things, and especially when you're so close. And you think, well, I've done this much. That's good enough. And as we said, we hate that saying because you're basically giving up. You don't want to do it anymore. But follow through is so important.
Absolutely. And you were actually, I don't know if you looked this up or just knew it off the top of your head, but you were mentioning how most people that do the New Year's resolutions and all that stuff tend to give up. What is it like? Isn't it like 89 or 90%
92%.
Yeah, okay.
So I had looked that up, and I can go over that now if you
Yeah,
want.
sure.
So I was we were talking about this, and I was curious because we're having this big conversation with our kids, and I thought this should be an episode because it might give people something to think about, might help them with their future goals. And when I tried to look up, why do people not succeed in their goals? Multiple websites apparently, and it's funny because they put it as scientific studies, but there are multiple websites that said studies show 92% of people give up on their goals. And these studies were based off of New Year's resolutions that people made, which means only 8% of these people actually attain their goals. And I was curious, well, why? I know reasons why. What I think why people don't actually make it to their goals. But I wanted to see what the quote unquote experts say. So I have 9 reasons. These were the top reasons why people don't why they don't attain their goals. One is they want the outcome more than they want to obtain a skill. And I can see that because a lot of times when you want to do something, you think of that final goal, but you're not thinking about all the work it takes in between and the other things that can come from it. And one of the things that came to mind was chickens. We wanted chickens because we wanted eggs. But the way I am, I have to do a lot of research. I have to find out, okay, well, if we're going to get chickens, how do we take care of them? How do we shelter them? How do we make sure that they're living good, happy, healthy lives? And there's a lot of work that goes into it compared to somebody who might say, oh, I want eggs, so I'm going to get the really cute baby chickens from Tractor Supply or whatever hatchery you go through. I'm going to get these cute baby chickens, and I have a yard, and they can just stay outside in the yard, and then these baby chicks die like a day later because you didn't do the work needed for it. And it's somewhat of an analogy where like there's more stuff that comes from it by learning about how to tend to chickens. Not only are we getting eggs, but we're learning all these things about how to properly care for them, what we need to do. We're learning new skills. And that's a bonus effect from it, but not everyone looks at it that way.
Yeah. People don't think about, they look at the glory and the celebration of whatever it is they're looking to achieve. For example, you want to be rich, okay? Nowadays, you look at social media, you see people that are wealthy, they show off their cars, their private jets, yada, yada, whatever. They don't look at, well, how did this, first of all, if that stuff's, most of that stuff's fake anyway, but the people that are legitimate, they don't say and talk about the journey that it took to get to that point. Most of them worked very hard, long hours, and made tons of sacrifices to get there. Nobody looks at that and glamorizes and glorifies that. They glorify the end result and forget about the work involved to get that end result. So when people are equating the end result with just that, the glory, they don't think about the work that's involved to get there. So of course, once there's a little bit of struggle, a little bit of adversity, they're like, that's not what I signed up for, I'm out. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Another reason, they care too much about what other people think, and that's fear of judgment or failure. And that's true too, because if you really want to achieve greatness, you have to put yourself out there. And again, something you said like fame, something like that. Well, you're not going to get that sitting safe and sound in your home. You need to take risks. And a lot of people are really afraid to. Side note, I have a digital download on my website to find your inner light, and it helps with fear of failure. Check that out if this applies to you. Had to do the plug. But yeah, so when you care too much about what other people think, you're setting yourself up for failure, because it doesn't matter what they think. If you have this goal, you have to, believe that you can do it regardless of what others say about you.
Spoiler alert, everybody's got an opinion of you. It's either going to be positive or negative, and most of them are going to be indifferent. And in the overall scheme of things, none of them should matter.
And one that coincides with that, another reason is because people don't believe in themselves enough and they lack self-confidence. Those people do worry about who's judging them, who's going to say what about them. And you can't let that bother you. When we started this podcast, we were doing it just for fun, but I had the thoughts of people are going to make fun of my voice. They're going to make fun of the way I talk. Like, I had all these thoughts in my head about how people would make fun of me, why they would make fun of me. They might ridicule what we're saying. And at the end of the day, I had to say, you know what? I don't care, because I'm confident enough in myself that, you know what? That's their opinion, and that's okay. They're welcome to it, but I'm not going to let that bother me. And that's, I think, the mindset people should have if they want to achieve their goals.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Thankfully, I was able to because I was considered a shy kid growing up and an introvert and all that stuff. And thankfully, I overcame that very quickly, because when all I ever wanted to do when I was young was be a professional wrestler, when one of the first things I had to do was basically fake fight people in my underwear in front of crowds, you get over that limiting self-belief quickly. Thankfully, I did.
Mm-hmm. Another reason is people mistake lessons learned as failures. How many times, if you're trying to do something, you can fail multiple times, but it's about not giving up. Keep trying. And you're learning, okay, this way didn't work. this way didn't work. This way didn't work. I know all these ways that don't work. I will find the way that will. And that's the mindset you need to have instead of saying, oh, this didn't work. That's it.
Yeah, I think we have to collectively, we have to redefine what failure is. Because really, truly, if you think about the definition of failure, the only way you can ever truly fail is when you give up and call it quits. It's really the only way. Are you going to, depending on whatever it is you're going for, are you going to struggle and make mistakes and not do it correctly the first time? Yeah, might take 20, 30 times before you get something right. But you never truly fail until you give up and quit.
Another reason is because people are constantly distracted by routines and traditional shortcuts. And I know this was something hard for me where, for example, working out, when I was, working full time and I would work all day, get up early in the morning, go work all day, come home, take care of the kids, make dinner. It's just the routine of things. And then, okay, now I'm tired and I want to go to bed. And I had to insert time to work out before bed, work out and shower before bed. And that was difficult to do when all you want to do, you're tired, you've had a long, hard day. You don't even want to go work out. You just want to go to bed. But I had to say, well, I know this is the routine that, I want, but I also want to make these positive changes for myself. So I had to make a decision, change up my routine and insert that into my regular routine and make it normalized for me, or just don't do it. And a lot of people, if it interrupts their routine, they're like, it's easier not to do it. Or they want to find shortcuts and oh gosh, I've tried this before. Instead of working out for like an hour, I'm just going to work out for like 15 minutes, but I'll do like a really intense workout. And that might work for some people, but that didn't work for me. And that ended up, making it harder for me because if I'm not warmed up enough, I would get a little injury. And I realized, okay, I can't take this shortcut. It's not working for me. So trying to find these shortcuts, maybe something could work, but a lot of times you got to follow through and stick with the proper plan.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you.
I mean, I know a lot of like that, just briefly on the workout thing, like the short, intense workouts and stuff. Mm-hmm. That stuff's great when you're like 25. But the older you get, the body takes a lot longer to recover. Those taxing 15-minute intense workouts on the central nervous system are rough. So yeah, I think like the older you get, definitely you got to warm up. And of course, everybody's different.
Yeah.
Find what works for you. But yeah.
For me, I was in my 30s. I had like 3 kids. My body, it wasn't adjusting well to it.
Yeah, you just kind of play it by ear. Yeah.
Another reason people don't succeed with their goals is they would rather throw in the towel than pivot.
That's true. So many times when you're on the road of your, we'll call it your life journey, and you make the pit stops to achieve goals, right? Well, yeah, you're going to run into roadblocks. And what are you going to do? You just give up? That's it? You quit? Or are you going to figure out how to, like you said, pivot, switch directions, go around something, figure out how to get under it or over it, But yeah, that's absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't have the discipline to stick with it long enough to see it through. And that was something that triggered in my mind a thought with our youngest. And he started watching like these really short videos. They were like 1 or 2 minutes long. And he lost his attention span. We're like, okay, this isn't working. The moment we realized it, like, okay, we're not doing that. But a lot of people, because when you think about social media and you think about so many things, everything's so quick and fast. The news cycles, everything is so boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, those quick dopamine hits.
Yeah, and it's shortening our attention span, which can shorten your discipline span. So instead of saying like, okay, I'm giving myself 90 days to work on this, and within a day you're like, oh, well, nah, I don't want to do this, because you don't have that discipline. And that is so hard to work on. I went a while without being able to meditate. Things were just so crazy. And trying to get back into it, it felt like 5 minutes took forever. And I thought, wow, I got to work harder on this, because obviously it took a toll on me just getting out of practice for, a month. And here I am, trying to get back to it. And it just felt so hard, and it's so easy to slip back, but you need to build that discipline. It doesn't come right away. You really have to, like you build your muscles to be stronger. You have to do that with your discipline.
Absolutely.
The last reason I have is that people don't see results fast enough.
That's that instant gratification again. It's that quick dopamine hit. That's what everybody's conditioned to.
So everyone listening, I'm going to ask you a question. If you ever tried to lose weight, how many times did you start your journey and then like the next day you go on the scale and you're like, how much did I lose? Or like you measure like your waist or whatever. Ooh, it's been a day. But I've done that. I would like, ooh, okay, I feel skinny today. Let's see how much weight. Oh, I haven't lost anything. And that can actually make it really discouraging. But you have to, just be patient for those results. Nothing comes right away typically. And you really do need to be patient with yourself so you can stick through long enough and actually see those goals instead of expecting it to be right away.
Yeah. What helps with like the weight loss stuff? Progress pictures. Especially now everybody's got a cell phone, a camera right in their hand all the time. Just take a picture of yourself.
Not every day.
Not every day. Well, you can every day if you want.
Could.
It's up to you. But you take one like once a week, and that's how you can slowly start to see results.
We did, what was Evolution by Joe Manganiello some years back. And I did progress pictures, and you could see the difference. Not only was I losing weight, but I was gaining a lot of muscle. And it was so cool to see the progress of like my body shape changing. And it felt really good to be able to go back and say, oh, wow, I started here and look where I am now. Like just a week, look at the difference. And again, that can help you with that positive mindset. And if you're not seeing it, then maybe you need to wait a month. Oh, look, but not a week later, but a month later, I'm getting something. And that can help you stick through it because you want to find those differences.
Yeah, you're giving yourself that visual evidence of your work paying off. And it does. I mean, that's the thing with things like that. Your body, especially, it takes time, and there is no quick anything that's healthy for you anyhow. So yeah, keep that in mind, but stick with it. Jeez.
And so there was an interesting article in psychologytoday.com, and the article is from 2020. But they did a study at the intersection of neuroscience and behavioral science that offers simple but useful insight on the failure to reach goals. And it's centered on the disconnect between our decision-making focus before we start pursuing a goal and our focus after we begin. And the study started with this hypothesis. When we set out to achieve a goal, our focus is on the reward. We envision getting the reward and how we'll feel when we do, and that's what propels us into action. But once we begin, we come face to face with what's really required to reach the goal, and our focus shifts from reward to effort. And the article continues, here's the kicker. Instead of refocusing on the reward, we stay focused on the effort. And the more we focus on the effort, the more likely we are to fail. Well, that makes sense.
It makes total sense. Absolutely.
So the researchers then conducted 2 experiments designed to measure physical and mental effort in pursuit of rewards. And in this case, they used financial rewards. In both experiments, participants were offered options for combining high or low effort with high or low financial rewards. Giving them the choice allowed participants to align their expectations, being high effort for more reward or lower effort for less reward, and etc. And again, the article goes on to say, the results of the experiments were consistent for both physical and mental effort. The amount of the financial reward influenced how the participants chose their effort-reward combinations, as expected. But when they started the work, their performance was determined by how much effort reaching the reward really was going to require, regardless of how much money was at stake. In other words, a focus on rewards fueled the pursuit, but a focus on effort took over when the work started.
There you have
It
it.
makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
And it kind of, with these reasons why people don't succeed, a lot of it is, we went over the reasons, but you think of this goal and how great it's going to be, but you're not thinking always about what it's going to take to get there.
And I think a lot of that too is because there's, again, like I said earlier, there's no glorification. There's not really a lot of time put into showing people the hard work that's involved in attaining greatness or achieving something. And it's all just, hey, look at this person. They're so awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you look at like sports icons and heroes and athletes, whatever. It's, oh, this guy's the greatest basketball player because he shoots the most hoops. Okay, well, why don't you talk about, instead of his accomplishments, how he got there? The hours upon hours of practice, all the games played, all the late night workouts, early morning workouts, all the kind of stuff, all the strict dieting year round to maintain their conditioning and their shape. None of that's talked about. Mm-hmm. It's the glorification of the end result again. So I think if we started maybe once again going back to, hey, hard work hard, and like teaching that to people, we might see more people attain their goals and achieve success.
When I was reading about this article, I thought about different ways that people can better achieve their goals. And this is, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a, medical professional, but I am a certified hypnotherapist, and this is stuff that helped my clients, and this is information they got from themselves during sessions, and I kind of culminated everything for these ideas. So one thing you can do is think about a recent goal that you set out but never actually achieved. And now think about the reasons why that didn't happen. Did you give up? Was it too hard or no longer worth the work? Was your schedule getting in the way and you were unable to create a new schedule or routine to make it work? What was your reason? And don't give the reason that you told other people. What was the real reason that deep down inside that you don't have to say it out loud, but look at that real reason. And with that knowledge you have now, think about other ways you could make that goal happen. Perhaps find other benefits. For example, if you want to lose weight to look better, don't just focus on that of, looking better, but also try to focus on the other benefits that if you incorporate a balanced diet and exercise, you'll also feel better and you'll feel healthier. Find the additional benefits to your goal. If you want to quit smoking, not only are you going to save money from not smoking, but there are a whole lot of other benefits, such as improving your lung function, not smelling like cigarette smoke, reducing teeth stains, improving your breath. There's a lot of stuff. You'll also save time. And one of the things that when I help hypnotherapy clients quit smoking, in that session, I bring up your free time, the time that you don't have to take away to go outside and smoke a cigarette or leave everyone. Gather that time, those minutes, those do accrue, and focus on finding something else that brings you joy with that time, even if it's just a few minutes a day, a few minutes to have something else to be productive with, or just enjoy your thoughts or enjoy the people that you're with and their company. Another thing that's helpful is instead of making one big goal, to break it down into baby steps. For example, if you want to exercise more, instead of creating a 90-day intense workout plan, break it down into more manageable steps. So if you don't exercise at all and you're like, I'm just going to go balls to the wall, that's basically, for most people, setting yourself up for failure. What you might want to try doing is start with going out for short walks. It's exercise and it's not taking up a lot of your time. And then extend the time. So you might just do a 5 or 10 minute walk and now extend it. Extend it to 15 or 20 minutes. Maybe build that up to a 30-minute walk. Now your body's getting used to the movement and the routine of taking time aside to do something. Once you get used to that, you can create a reasonable and doable workout routine that if you can either do it in the comfort of your home or at a local gym, but get used to making what you're doing a new habit. So when you add to it, it's not going to seem so overwhelming. And that's one of the biggest things with my hypnotherapy clients, that when they need to do something to better themselves, I ask, if it was easy, it would have happened by now. So how do we break this down into more manageable baby steps so we can actually let this follow through? And that is the biggest thing, is so many people are so eager to see that big goal and just take one big leap there, realizing that it's not possible. So when you break it down into baby steps, it helps a lot.
Yeah. Remember everything. Look at everything as like a trip. You're either going to walk somewhere, you're going to ride a bike somewhere, drive a car somewhere, take a plane somewhere, but you have to get there. There's a journey involved. We don't have teleportation devices yet.
Oh, I can't wait for those to come.
You can't just appear at the end point. So think about the journey, not just the end result and the destination.
Yeah. And speaking of the habit, you did 75 hard, and you did that a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it? It's like so many days to create a habit.
So, yeah, I forget I should remember it because it was difficult.
And you did it multiple times.
I did it multiple times, and I didn't. The premise behind it is you do. I'm trying to remember all the things. You have to work out twice a day. Mm-hmm. One of those workouts has to be outside, and they have to be, I think, a minimum of 45 minutes each workout. So basically 90 minutes a day. You can do it all at once. You can break it up, however, but 45 minutes of that. One of those workouts has to be outside. So it doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, whatever, you're doing something outside. That's one prerequisite. The other one was you have to take a progress picture every single day. You can't miss a day. You have to drink a gallon of water. You have to read 10 pages of a book. It has to be some kind of a book that either for business or self-improvement, that kind of thing, for your personal development. And then what was the last thing? Shoot, there was something else. Oh, it's sticking to a diet plan for 90 days. Or excuse me, 75 days. So that's what you have to do consistently every single day. And if you miss on even one of those things, like say you do everything, right, but you forget to take that progress picture, or you only drink 3/4 of a gallon of water instead of the full gallon, well, you fail and you have to start back at day one again. So it's not like you can get 60 days in, forget to take a progress picture, be like, it's okay, just one day, no big deal, I'll just pick it up tomorrow. No, you have to start back at day one again. So that's the challenge. I did it the first time, and I think I extended it. I just kept going.
Yeah.
I think I went to like 90-something days. And,
yeah.
And I just kept, just because by that point, it had become a habit. I didn't miss anything. I never had to quit and start over. I never did that. I just made it all the way through. And then for whatever reason, I decided to do it again a couple years after that, and I did it again, no problem. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, okay.
And I remember
no big deal.
It would be raining or snowing outside, and you'd go outside and do your workout.
Yes, it was because the first time I did it, I think I started in the winter.
I think it was like the late fall, early
something
winter,
like that.
And it was just the weather.
Yeah, it was
it
was bad. It was like freezing out. I had to buy those. I hate wearing like face masks and things, but I had to get one because it was so cold that I had to cover my face in order to go outside. It was so cold, but I did it anyway, and it would rain. I'd be outside, whatever. It didn't matter. Mm-hmm. It's that whole challenge is designed to, and I'm using the words of the program creator, Andy Frisella is his name. The whole purpose of the program is to kill your inner bitch, as he calls it. The voice in your mind that's telling you to give up, to quit, that, it's good enough, quit, give up now. You've done enough work. You deserve this. You deserve a rest. You deserve a break.
That voice when I'm shoveling, that's my inner bitch.
That's your inner bitch, yes. It's killing your inner bitch. That was the whole point of the program. And I'll tell you, it definitely, I don't know if I just never had that or was always able to tame my inner bitch or what, but for me, that program wasn't difficult at all. But that's what it's designed to do. And yeah, I want to say the research that's been done about habits and things like that, it's like 30 days before you actually, of doing something, before it becomes like 30 days to build a habit in like 60 days, or no, 30 days to build a routine, I think. And then it's 60 days it becomes a habit, or that could be flip-flopped or reversed. It's something like that. But but yeah, essentially that's what that program's designed to do. And a lot of people do it and, they fail at it or they stumble, I should say, because failure is only when you quit and you don't actually keep going till you achieve it. But yeah, definitely 75 Hard. Check it out. I think it's been around for a few years now, but I did it when it first started. I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. Let me see if I can do this. Challenge myself.
And I want to share a story about my inner bitch that came up because if I had listened to that inner bitch, you and I would not be here right now.
Please share this story. As long as it's not too salacious.
So I got into professional wrestling. I've shared on the show before. I loved wrestling as a kid. I was in a car accident and I got some money from it. And I wanted to learn how to wrestle. I thought, I want to do something for myself. I was in a previous marriage and it wasn't great, but I wanted something to make me feel good about myself. I had a baby at home and I thought, I'm going to spend this money on me, not just to buy something, but to invest in myself, to try something I've always wanted to do. And that's how I found the Chaotic Training Center in Massachusetts. And it wasn't that far away. So when my son was a year old, I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up. And I went there, I checked it out, and I told them why I wanted to be there. And they said, oh yeah, come watch training for a bit, come to a show and see if you still want to do it, which I did. And I started my first night. I think it was a Tuesday night. And I get there and I don't know anyone. And it's such an awkward and uncomfortable feeling when you go. Think about if you went to the gym by yourself for the first time and you don't know anyone and you know nothing about the machines that need to be done.
It's intimidating. Sure.
Yeah. And it was very intimidating for me. And everyone was really nice. And one of the first things we had to do was learn how to take a bump. And I just kept your body naturally.
What's a bump for people that don't know?
It's basically falling, kind of you jump up like you're slipping on banana peel and you put your arms out, you fall on your back.
You're purposefully throwing yourself to the ground.
Yes.
Essentially, yes.
And my body just wanted to land on its ass, which they said, yep, that's totally normal. And you have to trick your mind out of saying no. Because when you do that, you actually can cause more injury to yourself than when you do a bump because you're dispersing the...
You're killing the business, kid. You're killing the business.
That's okay.
You're exposing everything.
Well, it's just, it kind of disperses that energy from hitting the ground.
You evenly disperse the placement of the energy of the fall. That's all.
And I was, I finally got it. They showed me a few tricks. But we're going over all these things, and I'm thinking, wow, what did I get myself into? This is hard. And then my inner bitch said, you can just say you got a text and your son is sick and you need to go home. And I thought I could do that. And then that way it's not like, oh, she just gave up. She's got a kid she's got to take care of. And maybe people wouldn't think ill of me or look at me like I'm giving up. And my inner bitch was like, yeah, it's so easy. You could just do that and you have an easy out and no one would think different of you. Nobody would really care. They get it that you have a child. But then I thought, okay, but I signed up to do this and I want to do this. And yeah, it's hard, but what does that say about me? So I told my inner bitch to shut the fuck up.
Wow.
And I ignored her. And I went on and continued the evening. And then I went back to class 2 days later when they had the next class and I kept going. But if I gave up that first night and I ran away and I never came back, you and I would not have met.
Well, maybe we wouldn't have met the same way that we met, but maybe we still would have met. Who knows?
Odds are low.
Probably.
But it was just you never know what happens when you don't give up. I didn't know that first night there I was going to meet my future husband.
Well, we didn't meet there, though.
I'm saying I didn't know my first night there that by sticking with it, it would lead me to the day I meet my future husband. I didn't know any of that. I just told my inner bitch to shut up. And I'm so happy I did that.
Glad you did.
Yeah, I'm glad I did. And I think about you and I, we did P90X, we did P90X2.
God,
and
what a
that,
mistake. Just kidding.
No, that whipped my butt into shape because we were going to the gym, working out. I thought, okay, I'm in shape. I did P90X and I realized, wow, I'm not as in shape as I thought I was.
You were not in P90X shape.
I was not in P90X shape.
That's a completely different type of shape. It's
Yeah.
a different workout. It's a different type of conditioning for your body. How you would ever use P90X conditioning in any regular part of your life, I don't know. But it's definitely, I was wrestling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was in good shape because of the stuff I had to put my body through on a regular basis. No, not for this type of workout. I wasn't. But I'll tell you one thing, P90X didn't make me any better in shape for wrestling or anything like that.
But you know what I loved about P90X, and I never thought I'd hear myself utter these words, but push-ups. I
thought you were going to say
hated. Oh, what?
Oh, I thought you were going to say pushing yourself.
No.
Because that's what it does.
Oh, it is.
But go ahead. Sorry.
I hated push-ups, and I could probably maybe do 25 at the most, but like 5 was like if I had to. Oh, I can do a push-up. Look, I did 5. We're good. I hated push-ups, and when we got to the part where you're basically doing up to 500 push-ups in that workout, I thought there is no way on God's green earth I'm gonna do that. And I was like, I had to realize, like, you know what? Because it's not like, oh, just do 500 push-ups. They did those small baby steps. And I'm like, okay. So instead of saying I have to do 500 push-ups, it's like, okay, I got to do 50 push-ups. And you do like different types of push-ups. And it broke it up. But it was these small steps where all of a sudden you're training your body to do these things. And I was doing 1-hand push-ups by the end of it. I could do 500 push-ups, no problem. It really blew me away of what I could do, all because I said, you know what? This is going to suck, but I'm going to do it. I'm making that commitment. I'm going to give it my all. And there were times with like the plyometrics, with like the jump exercises. And what was it? Like you jump up and like you like touch your knees.
I think they were called jump tucks.
Jump tucks. And I remember I was doing that. You were at work and I'm doing the workout in our living room and I'm ready to give up because I'm tired. My inner bitch was like, nobody's home. Nobody's going to see you give up. You don't have to. You don't have to do this. Like you could just say, I mean, technically you did the workout. So you could just say, yeah, I did the workout. You don't have to say you didn't finish the workout. I'm trying to get myself, my inner bitch is trying to get all these these technicalities with me. And I'm like, nope, I'm just like, just push through. And then you walk through the door. You walk through the door and you see me working out. And do you remember what you said to me?
I remember being impressed.
You said, wow, watching you, it's motivating me because I hate doing that I can do it too. And I thought, if I had listened to my inner bitch, and I wasn't calling it that, I was just like that voice, then you would have walked in and you wouldn't have had that motivation. You wouldn't have been impressed. And that's not what it's about. But that then motivated me because then I thought, oh, wow. I guess I can make a difference, not just with myself, but I'm motivating him. That's an additional benefit, like what we just talked about. It's that additional benefit that happened. And it made me realize that sometimes when you're doing something hard, it's good to have a buddy, a support buddy, somebody who can motivate you. When we did drills in wrestling, when we were training, we do these blow up drills and it's hard. The point is to blow you up, to get you out of breath, to really push you. And I'd be doing it and I probably looked like shit doing it, but I was pushing myself and it made all the difference for me hearing everyone, yeah, you've got this. We would all cheer for each other. And it gave me just enough, I don't know if it was adrenaline or what, but just enough of what I needed to push through and get to it. And when you have somebody who supports you or you have a good support system around you, motivating you to stick to it and to stick to reaching your goals, that is a huge help as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's having like a cheerleader. But for what I found for myself though, is it's so beneficial to be your own cheerleader and to be your own biggest cheerleader and your own biggest fan and your own biggest believer and your own biggest supporter, because there will come a time for most people listening to this where you're going to want to do something and everyone's going to think you're nuts for wanting to or for thinking you can. And you've got to be your own biggest believer, your own biggest supporter to prove everybody wrong. Nobody thought I could get into wrestling because when I wanted to be a wrestler way back when, I was considered too small. Because back then, that was the land of the giants. You were 6'2" and 250 pounds, and you were considered a small guy. I was 5'5" and 160 pounds when I went to go train and signed up for a wrestling school. Everybody thought I was nuts and I was going to get killed and I was going to quit and everything else. And what are you thinking? They're going to kill you, blah, blah, blah. I heard everything. And I didn't let it dissuade me. I used it as fuel. When I say nobody, I mean nobody thought I could do it except for me. That was it. Everybody thought I was nuts. All my friends, my family, everybody, my parents, everybody thought I was nuts. Oh, if that's what you want to do, fine, but you're going to fail. I would hear that all the time, all the time. And I'll tell you what, 3 years after I trained, I achieved my goal. And I wrestled at a sold-out Fleet Center in Boston for the WWF.
And when did you set that goal?
I set that goal when I started wrestling, when I went to go train.
So it took you only 3 years to achieve your goal.
I want to, yeah. That's what I said. Look, when I got into it, I was like, this is one of the things I want to do. And when I do, and I said to myself, when I do this, I'm done. I'm all set. I've done it. I've made it. Like that. That was what I said to myself. And it's funny, about maybe a year prior to that, me actually achieving my goal, I went on a tour of the Fleet Center in Boston I was like something for like one of the jobs I was working at. And they give you like a tour of the facility because something for like the Celtics or something like that. I forget. But I was in there and just being in the locker room area and just thinking, I'm gonna wrestle here someday, going out onto the floor and I just said that to myself, like because I'd set the goal when I first got in, because that was the big arena close to my home was Boston, and it was the Boston Garden growing up, but they tore the Garden down and then it became the Fleet Center. Well, I always wanted to wrestle in Boston at a sold out crowd. And so I'm in that building and saying, well, it's not going to be the Garden, but it'll be here. And I did it not a year later is when I finally was there doing it. And it was crazy. I remember just being in the back and just like trying to take it in. And there was like the Red Sox were there, like in the back visiting people and a bunch of people just around. And I'm just like, I'm here like already. I was 22.
Who did you wrestle?
I was on TV. I tag teamed with Low Key and we wrestled Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was nuts. Like it was just crazy that it happened. And I remember being in the ring and a bunch of people that I knew, like a lot of my friends and family and stuff, were in the crowd, and I could hear them. I couldn't see them because it's sold out 20,000 people, but I could hear them. It's very strange when you're in the middle of an arena like that. You can hear a lot of individual people talking and saying things. You can hear stuff. It's weird. It's hard to describe it, but I could hear like my friends go, yeah, like screaming and cheering for me, and these are the same people that told me I was crazy, but now here I am. I did exactly what I said I was going to do. And the best was, this was taped for TV. I think it's probably on YouTube. You could probably find it somewhere if you look, but I remember getting like one of my family members actually taped it on like a VHS tape and was showing it at like all like our family functions for months afterward. Hey, did you see Alex? Did you see Alex? Like people just, Kita ton Aleko, like look at Alex, like all the Greek people all gathered around. All people said I was crazy.
Well, you proved them wrong.
And it was like, yep, I didn't have to say I told you so or F you or anything, but that's what I was thinking the entire time I was getting to that point. I'll show you.
Yeah.
You don't think I can do it? I'll show you.
And I think it comes down to accountability. You need to have accountability with yourself. So when my inner bitch says, you don't have to shovel those last 5 feet, or nobody's watching, nobody's around, you don't have to do that. It's that accountability. I don't have to do anything, but I want to do it. It needs to get done. The accountability is on me. And maybe if that's, at the end of the day, that's what we do. We just become our own accountability buddies, got to be accountable for yourself. And if you really want to see a positive change, you want to reach your goals, take accountability for yourself. Nobody else can do that work for you. Just like nobody else can eat for you. They can't go to the bathroom for you. If I work out, it's not going to do anything for Alex. You have to take that accountability within yourself. And when you do that, it does build a swell of pride inside, and it feels good. And I think it's also important to know we're all worthy of that. We all deserve that.
100%. Absolutely. To me, that's the biggest thing. You're deserving. Whatever it is you want to achieve for yourself, any dream you may have, it's there. It's yours. It's your dream. And it's there for the taking for you. You just got to go get it. No matter what it takes. If you really want to achieve something, you really want to do something, just do it.
Yeah, I really feel
you can. Anybody can do it. You just have to make up your mind and do it.
You have everything you need.
Absolutely. That's the thing. Everybody looks for that. Again, the instant gratification society we're in. Everybody's looking for that secret, that magic pill, that book that I can read that can give me the advice I need, that person I can talk to that can give me the motivation I need. You don't need any of that. You just need to make up your mind and then just get to work and do it and be willing to sacrifice and be willing to be patient, but be willing to work and you'll get there. Mm-hmm. Just don't quit, because that's the only true way to fail at something is quitting and giving up. Then you failed. Until then, I don't care if it's 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if you haven't given up, if you're still working at it, then you're still in the game. Mm-hmm. Game's not over until you say it is.
And on that note, I think that's an excellent point to wrap up. And we always say, let us know what you think. But I think a good thing that would be fun is share your goals with us. Share your accountability stories and share your success stories and even your inner bitch stories. And did you overcome it?
Absolutely. All right. Until next time, I am the Golden Greek Alex Arion. And I've been joined, as always, by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing wife, the lovely Monique.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker podcast.
We love hearing from and interacting with our hearers and watchers. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter
at HomewreckerPod.
You can also visit our website,
homewreckerpodcast.com,
where you can check out past episodes and pick up some Homewrecker Podcast gear from our online store.
Also, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're hearing or watching our show. That way you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. We're on all major podcasting platforms, and you can check out the video versions of our show at YouTube and Brighteon.
You can also find Monique in a few places online as well.
I'm on Twitter @_MoniqueGiselle_. If you're interested in a tarot reading, organite, incense, candles, and other cool things, you can go to my website, tarotbymonique.com. Or if you're interested in hypnotherapy, you can go to innerstandingshypnosis.com to schedule a free 20-minute consult. And follow me on Twitter @MoniquePCHT. And Alex, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter @TheAlexArion. And you can check out my website, AlexArionFitness.com.
And if that's too much to remember, we get it. That's why we put it all in our show notes.
Thanks for spending your time with us, and we appreciate all of your support.
We do. Thank you. We love you. Many people are unaware just how much hypnotherapy can help them, or think it's only to help lose weight or quit smoking. But there is so much more hypnotherapy can do. It can help with stress, anxiety, insomnia, phobias, performance enhancement, connecting with your spirit guides and higher self. You can even discover past lives and your life between lives. Heal traumas, break habits, find your deepest truth, or just have fun discovering who you really are, all from the comfort of your home. I'm Monique Pliakis. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I want to help you. Schedule a free consult by going to www.innerstandingshypnosis.com. That's INNERSTANDINGSHYPNOSIS.com. Inner Standings Hypnosis. Find your power and ignite your inner light.